Hi, this is Christopher Sparrow from iTechYou.org, and I've got an unusual situation here today. Today, we're going to do a re-unboxing. And we're going to do a re-unboxing of the OnePlus Open. Now, why are we doing a re-unboxing? Two reasons. Number one, the first version that I did, which I thought was really a stellar unboxing. Unfortunately, there was an audio glitch and the audio didn't get recorded. So it was about 20 minutes of me going wah, 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 and you couldn't hear anything. Second, if you've been following along during the iTech Year Weekly, which we host and record every Sunday here at iTechYou.org, and post during the week. And if you have been reading a little bit about our OnePlus Open coverage on iTechYou.org, you'll know that the OnePlus Open that I received was defective. It was good for about maybe 2 weeks, and then it had to go in for service. The left side of my main display, so when you open the fold up, the left side of the display was bad. All right, it would flicker, go dark, and be completely out. The touch screen was still there and working just fine, but you couldn't see anything. So it wasn't the backlight; it was actually the display that was bad. So back it went. OnePlus had it for about a month, waiting on spare parts to be able to replace the main screen. Got it back today. So let's go ahead and we will unbox the OnePlus Open and we will compare it to the Galaxy Fold 5. So if you'll give me just a minute, we'll be right back. And welcome back. All right, so we're going to be comparing the OnePlus Open to the Galaxy Fold 5. All right, now this particular phone, I mean, it's the latest version of Samsung's Elite Foldable. There's very little gap in between the top and the bottom screen when you unfold it. It's slim, it's sleek, it's got a modern processor and very, very good camera array. What I'm going to be concentrating on most with the OnePlus Open is did it come back fixed? Number one. And number two, because I haven't opened it yet. Number one. Number two, how does it actually physically compare in terms of foldable screen technology, in terms of the hinge, all right, and then some information on the specs. If you've been following along at iTechYou.org, you know that this particular device it's probably one of the best foldables out on the market today. I think that OnePlus vastly underestimated the success of their phones in the U.S. market. And I think part of the problem that they've had, especially with repairs for my phone and for other devices that are out there, is that they did not anticipate successfully the amount of success that they would have with the introduction of their devices in the U.S. market. As such, I waited for what really should have been a 7 to 10 business day process. So no more than 2 weeks max. I ended up waiting double that time in order to get my device fixed. And as I said before, The main screen went bad. And I don't care what's going on a foldable with effectively two different screens, one and then on the inside, all right, two. Having half of that screen be gone and not usable, not viewable, all right, is completely useless. All right, completely makes the device unusable. So let's go ahead, all right, and we're going to fold this up and we're going to unbox the repaired unit. All right. Um, we're going to take a look a little bit at the original packaging, which I believe I still have hanging around. All right, because it was kind of cool. All right. But I'm really more interested in, like I said, did it come back fixed? All right. And is it actually, how does it actually compare to the Fold? All right. So let's take a look. Because between me and you, after all that I've been through with OnePlus and their service, and I'll get to that in just a minute, it wasn't a pleasant ride. All right. But again, I don't blame OnePlus for. I don't blame OnePlus for that largely because, as I said, it went through a bit. I think they're going through some growing pains, and I think they've got some issues as far as providing service. So here is larger box wrapped in bubble paper, all right, or bubble wrap. Here is the device. All right, so we're going to open it up. All right. First thing that you notice is that it says device sanitized. All right. And then interior bubble in a bubble wrap pouch. All right. And so what we're going to do, and I don't know if this is the actual same device or not, because there was a sticker with a QR code on the back, and it is now gone. All right, but it is the same color. All right, so let's take a quick look at what's going on with the OnePlus Open versus the Samsung Galaxy Fold. And as you can tell just by looking at them side by side, all right, the Fold is a little bit thinner. You put them one on top of the other and you hold them flat next against each other. And I don't know that you're going to be able to see this very well, but there it is. There's definitely, the OnePlus Open is wider, all right? It's got a wider front screen, all right? Which is going to translate into a wider overall screen when it's unfolded, all right? You will notice that versus the Samsung Fold, there's really little to no gap at all in between the two screens, all right? While there is no gap, it does look to be a little bit wider, and I think that's going to be a little bit due to the way that the device is actually engineered, all right? I think that has to do with the fact that when you unfold the device, which I think is there's something on the side of this, and I don't know if it's schmutz or if it's scratched. I'll have to take a look at that later. All right, but there's something here in between the it looks a little bit thicker. All right, or there's a larger gap. While you can't see anything in between there, you can definitely see the seam as opposed to with the Fold, and the difference. It's got a thicker black line than this one. All right, speakers both on the top. All right, although they are split here. All right, on the OnePlus Open, you can see there's the speaker grids. All right, versus just the one on the Samsung. All right, same on the bottom. All right, the OnePlus has two speaker grids near the center, and the Samsung has just one on the top here. Now there is also the mic, which is here. All right, on the Samsung Fold. What I want to concentrate on, though, with the actual physical comparison of the devices is the seam, all right, or the crease in between the two. As you're going to see with between the two devices, the crease on the Samsung Galaxy Fold, all right, it's very noticeable. Even though it is greatly reduced between the 4 and the 5, all right, same way between the 3 and the 4, all right, the dip in between the two screens, and you can see it. You can even, there it is, right? There's the seam, all right? The seam in between the two halves of the screen on the Samsung Galaxy Fold, you can definitely see it, all right? You have the reflection there, and I want to point this out. You can see it. It's very, very clear, and you can feel it, all right? You can feel it in between the two devices, and it's very, even though it's greatly reduced on the Fold 5, all right, you can still, you're not going to get away, and I've said this over and over and over again, you're not going to get away from the crease. You can still see the crease. There it is in the reflection on from the monitor in front of me, all right, there's the crease, all right, on the Fold 5. On the OnePlus Open, I want to point out, and I want to be very, very clear about this. It's there, but boy, it is greatly reduced. You can see that distortion. And only, I mean, even at the same angle, all right, there, all right, it is greatly reduced. And when you actually have got this thing open, you can barely feel it. You can barely see it, all right? On the Samsung Fold, you can definitely see it, all right? It's noticeable. Its presence makes itself known, all right? So I am very excited to get this device back. The difference between the two, on the OnePlus Open, and I'm going to concentrate on the specs for the OnePlus Open at this point. It's got a 7.82 diagonally measured screen, all right? And it's 2440 by 2268 with 426 pixels per inch, all right? It's got an aspect ratio of 1.0758 to 1, all right, and a refresh rate of 120 hertz, all right, which is dynamic, meaning it'll go from 1 to 120 hertz whenever it needs to. It's auto adjusting, all right. Flex Fluid AMOLED screen with a peak brightness of 2800 nits, which is very, very bright. Touch response up to 240 hertz pulse with moderation of up to 1440 hertz. It's got ultra thin glass. The cover screen, or the secondary display, which is this one, all right, 6.31 inches, all right, 2484 by 1116 or 2K, 20 to 0.09, and a screen to body ratio of 91.8%. Also has 120 hertz refresh rate. Also a super fluid AMOLED screen. 2800 nits on the outside as well. So also very, very bright. I've noticed when I did have it that going outside with this thing, you were still able to see it fully in the daylight. All right. Nature tone display. Images are very, very sharp. Auto brightness, bright HDR video mode. It's got a night mode. It is currently running Android 13 and Oxygen OS 13.2 based on Android 13. I heard today, as of this recording, which is January 31st, 2024, that the next version of Oxygen OS, based on Android 14, just came out of beta in India. So I'm hoping that we'll see something soon within the next 2 to 6 weeks here in the States. All right. 5G chipset is running Adreno 740 GPU, 16 gigabytes of RAM for the display, 4, 8, or 12 gigabytes of actual programmatic RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage, and a 4,805 milliamp hour battery. All right, with a 67-watt charger. So not too bad. Let's talk a little bit about the camera on the back. You can see this camera array, and it is very unusual. It's also very, very big. All right, it's got an OmniVision OV64B with 3x optical zoom and a 6x in-sensor zoom. All right, 64 megapixels, optical image stabilization, so AIS, yes. Also electronic image stabilization, so the camera, the software will help stabilize the image. It's got a focal length of 70 millimeters, which is 3x, 145 millimeter equivalent, which is 6x. The aperture, for those of you that are amateur professional photographers, the aperture has an f-stop of 2.6. It has a 33.4 degree field of view. It does support autofocus, and it's got a ultra-red digital zoom of up to 120x. All right. The ultra-wide camera in this thing, all right, has got a Sony sensor. It's about a half inch, 48 megapixels. It has got a focal length of 14 millimeters, a aperture or an f-stop of 2.2, 114 degree field of view. Also supports autofocus and has a 3.5 centimeter macro lens as well. Camera shots on this are amazing. So if you're looking for a foldable with a really good camera, look long and hard at this. I would put this up against the camera in either the Fold 4 or the Fold 5 any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I think you're going to get really great pictures with this. I know I have before it went in for service. All right. It does support 4K video. The screens support 4K video at either 30 or 60 frames per second. It does support 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second, 720p at 30 or 60 frames per second. It does have Dolby Vision HDR at 4K for 30 frames per second, 1080p at 30 frames per second, and it's got ultra steady video at 1080p for 60 frames a second. The Hasselblad camera on this is, again, just amazing. All right. The front camera, 20 megapixels, quarter-inch sensor. It has got an f-stop of 2.2 and a field of view of 91 degrees. That's on the inside. On the outside, all right, 32 megapixels and an aperture or an f-stop of 2.4 with an 88.5 degree field of view. This is really, really awesome. It's got a physical SIM and an eSIM, and supports 5G here in the States. It supports Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7 for connectivity. 802.11, ABG, NAC, AC Wave 2, AX, and BE. Um, so Wi-Fi on this is super fast and will depend on your particular um, brand and flavor of Wi-Fi wherever it is that you frequent. All right, it is NFC enabled. The one thing that you will need to know and understand is that this particular device does not support wireless charging. So, no charging on the back here. You're going to have to go ahead and plug it in with the USB cord. All right, USB-C cord. It does support fast charging on the USB-C. So, you need to go ahead and just be aware. No connective charging, no Qi charging, none of that crap. Unfortunate, but true. All right. So you just remember and understand that you're going to have to plug it in to charge it. All right. It does have a dual nano SIM slot. It does support standard Type C earphones. It does support USB 3.1 and Type C charging. All right. It does have a alert slider on the left side of the screen on the left edge. The audio on this is also pretty good. I have done gaming on this. I've played Asphalt 9 on this, which is a really nice auto racing game. And when it was working very, very well, man, it was fluid, it was streaming, it was really sweet. So let's go ahead, all right now, and take the old USB-C cord here and plug this little bad boy in, and let's see what happens. All right, it did vibrate, and there it is. Booting up here, and I'm going to open it up in just a minute. I'm going to let it do its thing, and then I'm going to pop it open. It should come back completely blank and wiped. So let's take a look, and let's see. So it says hello on the outside, and hello on the inside. It looks to be fixed, which is a really, really good thing. Makes me feel really, really good. The reason why, between you and me, the reason why I was a little skeptical at best, not having used, I'm a first-time OnePlus customer, and not having known what this was going to be like, I had no idea what to expect. And you'll see in an article that's upcoming on itechgear.org entitled "The Tale of Two Devices," where Chris G and I go back and forth and talk about our experiences with the device. His so far has been solid, and he's been very, very pleased with it, and very, very encouraged by what he's seen. Use for him has been spot on. I had the problems. Now it's back. And so we're able to go ahead and move forward with some coverage on itechgear.org. We will also go ahead and have some coverage on the iTechGear Weekly about this. So, stay tuned to the site to see the pictures and the videos of the problems that I had and that I experienced and what's going on now. I'll also have some comparative photos between the Fold 5 and the OnePlus Open. Stay tuned to the iTechGear Weekly as we discuss some more fine points about the OnePlus Open as it compares to other foldables and other Android devices. This is a very exciting time here at itechgear.org as we cover all of this really cool, new, cutting-edge technology and stuff related to foldables and some Android-related phones. So this is Christopher Spera from itechgear.org with the OnePlus near seamless